All right, can you explain how to manage being unequally yoked when it comes to family members? How do I manage that and still love my family?
Well, I think Paul talks about an unequal yoke in the context of marriage, and this is what he says: to the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. A wife is not to depart from her husband. If she does depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. Then he says, but to the rest not I, or the rest I, not the Lord, say. And all he's saying there is that Jesus didn't address this. If any brother has a wife who does not believe and she's willing to live with him, let him not divorce her. And a woman who has a husband who does not believe, if he's willing to live with her, let her not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but now they are holy. But if the unbeliever departs, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such case, but God has called us to peace. And then he says this, for how do you know, O wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, O husband, whether you will save your wife? And so what we're looking for in a situation, especially in family where you're unequally yoked, is you're looking to be a witness of who Jesus is. You in the case of a husband and a wife, if I'm a non-believing husband and my wife is a Christian, every morning when I roll over and look into her eyes, I'm looking at Jesus inside of my wife. And so it's going to be a convicting thing. And every time that she's talking, every time that she puts up with my nonsense, every time that there's these struggles and stuff, and I see her acting in a godly way, it's Jesus right in front of me at that point, and it's a really great witness. And so in a situation where you may be living with parents that don't know the Lord, it's the same thing. You are set apart for God's use, and Christ is in you. And so you need to make sure that you're acting in a Christ-like way, allow the Holy Spirit to work through you, and you need to be a witness to your family members, because how do you know whether or not God won't use you to turn them around and save them? And so that's what I do with when I'm dealing with unsaved family members. In my situation, most of my wife's family, that's the family that I'm around the most. Well, all of them are saved, and there have been times when we've had people in the family that weren't. And what I do is just be a good witness of who Christ is, non-compromising. I don't kowtow to people. Don't put up with their nonsense if they're doing nonsense, and I'm just straightforward about my walk with Jesus and the love of God and all of that kind of stuff. Same thing when I'm talking about my family members. My sisters are believers, my brother is not, and so with my brother, it's just straightforward. I do the right thing by him. I do the right thing by, in situations, he knows why I am who I am, and I do my best to be a good witness of who Jesus is before him. And then I'm looking for conversations and looking for opportunities to be able to share the gospel with them.
So the times that you would break yourself away from family would be the times when they're compromising, like revelries, drinking parties,
Yeah.
things that come up where you're like, I'm a Christian, I can't do that, and now we are
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Even though if they're unbelievers, you're still not going to have the fellowship and tightness.
Right, exactly. And so if my family's doing something off the wall, then I'm not going to be involved in it. And so love you, I'm going to go over here.
Right.
I'm going to go home, or I'm going to go hang out with my pals, or if they get mad about that, I tell them why. I follow Jesus, and you're not, and I'm not going to do this with you. This is what I used to be, and you know it, and I'm not going to be this anymore. And so, yeah, again, making stands like that.
Totally.
Goes both directions.